Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay.
All right, second, third. Second, third, Yangli transformed. How exciting. Well, I think we'll just start warming up. I think there are a couple of other people who want to join this class live today, but they don't mind missing a bit of the warm-up. So we'll get on with that. Morning, Romald.
Morning.
And yeah, then we'll get into the second, third. All right, so this is our the last class of the free trial of January, even though it's actually February today. Actually, it was yesterday too. Gave you 2 extra classes. What am I doing? Yeah, so just those of you who have been following on YouTube, the recorded classes afterwards, if you haven't registered for the classes, this will be the last one that you'll be able to watch. So if you've liked them, if you've enjoyed the content, and you would like to continue into February and so on, then just shoot me a message, comment, get in touch with me in some way, and we can make sure you're registered to get the live links and the recording links throughout the next few months as we continue. All right, let's get our bodies moving, and then we'll get into the some things about the second, third. All right, short warm up. Let's bend our knees, just down a little bit, and then take the hands up the sides as you stand up. Stretch your hands overhead, stand onto the balls of your feet, really tall, 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 stretch up, and then down the center. Same again, little bend in the knees and the hips. Up, 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 and down. Same again. I'm going lower and lower in the legs each time. Obviously only go down to as low as what's comfortable for you, so you're not breaking any structural principles. Keeping your weight in your heels, keeping your feet pointed forwards, keeping your knees in line with your toes, that kind of thing. Listen to your own body. This time you're going to come up the center, straight up the front. Pull it back. Relax it down. Same again. Make sure you squeeze those glutes when you're coming up. Well, they're squeezing when you're going down as well, but particularly when you're standing up. Open and close. Breathing in, opening up. Closing up, breathing out. Opening out, breathing in. Chest up, bum out, shoulders back, palms back. Breathing out. Get that full range of motion happening through your spine. Gently squeezing a little bit more each time as you feel the muscles start to warm up. Go into the closed position. Wriggle your body around, lifting and dropping your hips, stretching into the side of the hip, sort of all around this area here. Just stretching in, waking yourself up. Legs, take a lunge, move around, stretching, lengthening through that back leg, squatting down, lifting up, opening up, rear foot, pressing the heel back, pushing the toe forward, closing the center, opening the center, just wriggling around, moving like you're sort of running on the spot, you know, just getting the muscles to fire up, especially those glutes, most important muscle in your structure. Make sure they're functioning correctly. Switch sides, same thing, lengthen down through that back leg. Coming out of that one. Hinge forward from the hips, feet parallel shoulder width. Hinge forward. 45 degrees. You can do all the exercises that we're going to do from this position. If you want more though, you can go down to 90 degrees and do all the exercises from this position. If at any point, let's relax the back. If at any point you feel you're getting too tired, too stressed out, just come back up to 45. Or anywhere between those two, of course. Straighten the back. Relax the back. Straighten the back. Open the arms. Relax everything down. Straighten the back. Open the arms to the rear. Relax everything down. Straighten the arms. Straighten the back. Lift the arms to the 45, like a Y in front of you. Same again, but this time straight up in front of you. And relax down. One more to the side. Take it to the rear. Lift it up as high as you can. Lift it forward. Backward. Forward. Backward. Breathing in on the up. Out on the down. Here on the up, out on the down. Link your fingers behind you. Pull those shoulders over. Relax your spine. Stretching the fronts of your deltoids. Relax. And roll up. Okay. One more just to make sure the hips are all nicely opened up, and then we'll get into some second, third stuff. Okay, let's take it down. Sinking, walking forward, place your knees on the floor whenever you need to, into a plank. Hold that position. Bring one foot forward to the outside of your palms. The foot is turned out at 45 degrees. Sinking down through that leg as low as you can. Point your rear toe. Lengthen through that back leg. So you're getting this sinking stretch in the front leg and a lengthening stretch in the back leg. And just wriggle your body around. Move your body into any kind of position that you feel, oh, there's a tight spot. Oh, there's a tight spot. Just move, breathe, and just flow with your center, using your hands to support your body. Then something a bit more specific, turn your center towards your front leg. So you bring that stretch down through the side of your body, pulling your body towards this front knee, so you're stretching down through the glutes here. And then if you want to go lower, you can put your elbows on the floor. But again, always listen to your body. If you can't get your elbows down, just stay on your hands. Just think sink. Sink as low as you're able to. Spin it around to the other direction. So you're going to come up onto the ball of your standing leg, your rear leg now, and sinking through the hamstring of the front leg through here. Bend your knee a little bit and sink through it a little more. Sorry, I got a little bit lost in thought then. I was like, oh, wait, I'm teaching a class. Okay, crawl yourself forward to the other side. Just try to stay as low as you can. Point that rear toe again down into the floor. Stretch and lengthen through that back leg. Sinking through the front leg. Turn towards the front leg. Sink through that rear hip, that bottom hip. Really sink onto it. Get the stretch over the hip and through the side of your muscles, your core. Pull it through. Stretching a little bit into this glute. And sink down into that front leg as far as you can. If you can get your elbows on the floor, that's great. If not, just get as close to that as you can by sinking down. Back up onto your hands. Same thing, spin it around. And stretching, opening up that front hamstring on the toes of the rear foot. Moving around, feeling where your tight spots are again. Bending your knee a little bit. Coming into the middle, place your hands in the middle. For a little bit of support, your feet are about double shoulder width, pointed out at 90 degrees. Now if you're finding this position already really difficult, just do a little bit of a rock side to side, nothing too extreme. If you're finding it's fine, you're okay with this position, then try and sink down onto one leg, you see, like so, and then sink down onto the other leg. You can keep your hands here for support if you need them. This is a movement directly out of the third of the Yang Lu Chan Taiji form, so it's one that's important to get practice to. But yeah, as I say, even if you're just kind of like this, you know, just sinking a bit, walking across, sinking a bit, you're working your way up to being able to do that eventually. And then stand, straightening your legs up. Again, stretching those hamstrings out a little. And then standing up. All right, let's get some second, third stuff done, shall we? What are we going to do today? This is our first official class on the second, third. We did an unofficial one last week. And tomorrow is our first official bag work class, as well as our first official closed group class, because they won't be going for free live on YouTube anymore. So only the people registered will be seeing the classes. All right, second, third. What should we start with? Let's do that. Let's start with Tripping Repulse Monkey, because we already did that last week. I think most of the people who are here today were here last week. The people live, at least, is what I mean. So remember last week we did the sort of just the gross details about the stepping actions in Tripping Repulse Monkey. So we'll go over that again, as just to get the body moving a little bit, get a little bit more warm up, to recap what we've done. But then I will show you the full movement now. We'll drill that, we'll do it as a movement, and I'll show you some intricacies about the hands as well, so you have the whole posture. Best time to do that now, since we've already done it last week with just the focus on the legs. Okay, so let's first just do what we did last week. Remember, we only did the second variation of the movement as well. We didn't do the first one, which comes out of the double punch and comes back to this movement. We'll do the double punch some other time, because that's a whole package of moves that needs some time and detail in. As I said, with these classes, we're not going to be going sort of from scratch, learning every move. I'm not teaching it like, here we go, assuming you've never learnt it. We're giving more further insights and practice through these classes, just like we do in the first third with our general first third classes. This class will not be like the Thursday night first third, where I'm teaching from scratch, move by move. I'm assuming that people following already have a basic understanding of, you know, where to put the hands and so on for each posture. And obviously, I won't be covering the repeated movements from the first third, so you need to know the sequence, otherwise you get a bit lost. Okay, so let's do what we did last time. Okay, we were turning around, weren't we? So if we start facing this way with our left foot forward in a bow stance, let's have a look at this footwork again. So push the heel out, sink back, drag the foot in a little bit, lift it up. Take that step over the top of something, kick it backwards as I'm turning back towards the front. There's the kick, and then place the foot down on the ground flat and settle back to a bow stance again. Okay, normal 70-30 bow stance. Same again, push the heel out. So you see my rear heel is pivoting. Sorry, the foot is pivoting on the ball of the foot, so the heel moves, the heel pushes backwards. I sink back onto that leg, and as I sink back, my front foot just drags in a fraction, and then I pick it up, like so, lifting the knee up to hip height, and then I go, remember, don't drop the knee. Remember I stepped over the djembe last week? Stepping over something, once your knee is aiming backwards, boom, it's in line. It can do the kick now, you see? We're never kicking from that position. You lift it up, roll it over, kick it out, okay? So, roll it over. Remember, the hips have to rotate. The standing hip is the primary moving factor here. This hip barely moves at all. It is externally rotated here. It just comes back to a neutral position. As it comes back to neutral, the standing hip rolls over to aim that foot backwards. Then you kick it backwards as you turn your center back to the front. And as the foot goes into the ground, remember, I think I explained this last time, the foot goes on the ground there. The foot goes on the ground empty. But now as I fully turn to the front, see, I'm not quite to the front yet. As I just fully center into the front, there's that little bit of dispersing of weight into the rear leg. So I finish in a 70-30 stance. But it shouldn't feel like you're going and kind of moving away, moving backwards. It should feel like, like you're just sort of settling into your feet, you know, so you're keeping that forward intent, just putting that tiny little bit of weight into the rear leg. Let's try that again, the other side. So let's put our right foot, no, we just did our right foot. Why did we do our right foot? No, we didn't. We did both, didn't we? Okay, so we're going to change sides to drill this one so that you can see me what we're doing, and then we'll do it from some different angles. So we need the right foot forward if we're facing this way. So then we're always facing that way so you can see what's happening. Turn the foot out. Sit back, slight drag of the front foot. Lift it up, in external rotation on that upper hip. Roll it over. Wait till you can feel the target with that rear leg, and then kick backwards. Bah! There's your kick. Place the foot, center. Spin that around just to the other side, so you're still in the exact same position with your left foot forward. We've just spun around so you can see me. Turn the heel out again. Sit back. Again, we're just keeping the hands kind of in guard at the moment. Lift it up, both hands lifting up, so both hands up here now. Sinking, the standing leg is still sinking down, don't stand up. Rock it over. My hands coming to the front, kicking backwards, striking to the front, or pulling to the front rather, and re-tucking your pelvis, remember. Let's cover that again, so right leg forward. Remember, the most important thing here, with reference to the pelvis, your pelvis is tucking in, lifting, because your leg is lifting in the front. As it goes, as you rotate over, you're engaging the side, these little muscles down through the side of your hip as you roll it over. But then as I kick backwards, you will have a curve in the spine. The body is ever so slightly leaning forward, tilting forward, the angle here. So I'm not bolt upright when I'm trying to do this posture. There is an ever so slight forward tilt to the body. Ever so slight arching of the lower back because you're extending from the rear. Anytime we extend from the rear, you have to tilt the pelvis downwards. So that's there. But then once that foot's on the ground, keep it that way as it touches the ground. Pelvis is still a bit here, and then it's going to re-tuck under as you settle into that final position. So your final position, if you saw this posture, you would not be able to tell if I just did Tripping Repulse Monkey or if I just did brush knee twist step, okay? Let's try again. Left foot forward. Right hand forward. Okay, let's just loosely do the hands. So you're in a brush knee twist step. Yeah, you know that. Push your heel out. The first part of the move, just keep your hands as they are and let them move with your body. Sit back, drag that foot in. So your hands are just here. Right hand is still on my center, left hand is still down to my side, and I'm just keeping it with my center. But as I lift my left foot, I'm going to lift my left hand as well into a spreading the weave type action. Now take that foot over. Again, feel the pelvis. Think about what your pelvis is doing. Kick backwards. Bah! Remember, the kick is here. Wah! That's where the kick would land. The kick is not there at full extension. That's not where the apex of the movement is. The apex of the movement is very close. Bah! There's the kick. That's now just the extension to place down and settle into the next movement. Switch sides. Right foot forward, left hand forward. Same thing. Push that rear foot out. Drag that foot in. Sitting back, turning my center now, you see? I'm turning my center as far to the rear as I can, to the corner. Now I'm going to lift this hand up as I lift my foot up. Now I'm going to turn towards the front, keeping that hip up, kicking backwards. Bah! There's the kick. Here's the extension and stretch. Retuck the pelvis. There's the final movement, the final posture, tucking under. And you'll notice every time I place that foot, I'm placing it on the ground, heel and toe together, but with no weight on it, okay? So don't obviously fall onto that leg. You've got to show that you've got really good balance. The whole point of this posture is about the balance, okay? Again, left foot forward. Push your heel out. Sink back. Lift it up. Take it over. Strike forward, kick backwards. So left palm is striking forwards when the left foot is kicking backwards. Place the foot. Straighten up. I didn't mention that before. So obviously I've got that slight forward tilt to the body. As you retuck your pelvis, you also straighten your spine back up. I think that was relatively obvious, but yeah, you shouldn't be finishing in a front weighted stance. Sorry, in a forwardly tilted stance. Okay, again, push the heel out, drag the foot in slightly, lift it up, tilt everything over, kick backwards. Bah! There's the kick. Now lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Remember, stretch that leg out as far as you can when you place it down, so you end up in a good, solid bow stance, okay? Reach backwards. That's the most common thing. It's the same sort of thing, but even more so in this posture. I've mentioned a few times before, when people do brush knee twist step, because the knee is bent, they don't manage to straighten it back up again for some reason. Like when they just step through, they think, oh yeah, I've got to stretch my leg out. Nice, and they get a full stance. Bend the knee, it's like it drops, the dropping of the leg is too quick, and they forget to straighten the leg out. So they end up with a very short stance. This one is even more so than that, because it's much more difficult from a balance point of view. You're in a very funky position, right? Stepping backwards, going forwards and backwards at the same time. You're on one leg, you're slightly leaning forward. So from that position, people, most of the time it's just because they lose balance. But then more so than that, the strength in the back leg. So they're coming through from here, and even if they can hold, yeah, I've got balance, but again, easy. Just dropping the leg where it is. No. Kick, now extend. Reach like you're trying to touch the wall behind you kind of thing. Reach backwards, but with the heel, not with the toe. Stretch that leg as far as humanly possible. So you end up in as close to a bow stance as you can. You know, you're learning it for the first time, or you might, this is not that class, you might be learning this for the first time. If you are ever learning it or teaching beginners the posture, yeah, they might not get a full bow stance the first few times they do it. You've got to build your strength up. But that's why I always say, you know, what are we doing in our warm-ups? We're doing kicks, close it down, lift it up, boom. What are we doing here? Look, strengthening all of those muscles without the complexity of Tripping Repulse Monkey. So by the time you learn Tripping Repulse Monkey, your muscles should be used to doing those particular postures. All right, let's carry on with that and chuck in a few more details with the hands. I'm going to stick with this one for now. We'll probably still have time to do the first one, but since the first one is different, I want to just stick with this for now to not create any confusion. So in the whole form, if for those of you who don't know, we've done the double punch. The very first one is a different shape. It's a very similar principle, how you roll the hip and kick and all of that, but there's a few subtle differences. But then the second two are what we've just been doing. So they're identical left and right sides. So that's what we're doing now. Okay, so the hands here. The hands are going to do exactly the same motion. Here's stork spreads wings. Spreading the, hiccup, spreading the weave. Now look what the hands do. That's exactly what the hands are going to do. There's only one small difference in that the lower hand is already a little down. This hand is up, so you're still going to come across and then lift up into spreading the weave. So from normal spreading the weave, from here, obviously this hand is up, so it has to drop down first. But from this position, look, it's exactly the same hand movement. You're coming over to the side, and then you get the splitting, the spreading element. You see, poke with the front hand, pull in with the rear hand. Poke, reload, and then into brush knee twist step. Well, this is going to be poke, reload, grab, and then kick him in the leg as you pull his arm forward, that kind of thing. Yeah, so you should already know the hands to that. There's literally no difference apart from it starting from a lower position. So there's not much to cover there. If you're learning the second, third, I hope to think you're understanding spreading the weave by this point. You should obviously be very confident in your first third by the time you're learning the second third. So the only additional thing that we have to do, I will show this facing you first because you might not be able to see the hands very well this way. In fact, I'll even come up closer. So let's see. This way? No, let's go this way. Right, so here's the spreading the weave. Here's the hands. One hand coming back, one hand lifting up, and then spread the weave. Boom. I'll show you the exact timings in a minute as to when to put. I'm not doing the footwork at the moment. Yeah. So 1, 2. See how the opening starts? It shouldn't be something like 1, 2, because the whole body stopped moving, didn't it? So I'm turning. See when the opening of the body starts? The splitting happens kind of as you're lifting the arm. You don't want to lift the arm, split on the end of the movement. It's turning in. The lifting of the arm, let's say, I don't know, it does start lifting as I'm turning in. It's just maybe the first third or so of that lifting action at the bottom. Again, there's no exact percentages to be given here. It's something you just learn to feel where the flow is. But it's just starting to lift there. But then as the full lift happens, see, I'm already opening my center. So the timing, there's the opening, there's the closing. Okay, from the closed position, what we're going to do is this. The long hand, very, very simple. We call it looking in the mirror. Just turn your palm to face you, like that. Just turn your palm to face you. Look at it. Look at your palm. My fingers are facing kind of, I'd say, a 45-degree angle upwards, like that. Not quite to the front, about a 45. You're grabbing something. You're grabbing onto something with your hand. In the form, when you're doing a soft, gentle sort of form, you don't grab with your hand. It's just, but there's still that intent of grabbing. There's still a mild squeezing of the fingers. Don't just leave it as a completely open palm. There is that mild intent of squeezing with your fingers. The rear hand, that's a little bit more tricky, a little bit more detailed. It too just has to grab, you see? But see the circle it had to do. It's not this. See, don't just turn your hand. You won't grab his hand like that. I'll show you the application in a moment. See that? See the circle it's got to do? It's got to do if that's my right hand doing the movement, I'm doing a clockwise circle. I'm not just lifting the hand up. I'll end up with his hand on the wrong side of my hand. Because his arm's here, you see? So I need to do that and not that. I don't want to end up on the back of his arm. So yeah, it's there's the grab. So I end up like that. Yeah, like you're carrying a big piece of wood or an axe. You're about to chop some wood, okay? Holding something like that. So left palm is facing towards you, right palm is facing away from you. Open, close. There's the close. Just off the close. There it is. Boom. Just as soon as you close, you just grab his arm. So, in fact, sort of as you're closing, really. It's like coming into that offloading of the closing. See? So your hands don't go, they don't stay in that position. They don't go thumbs up, right? Poke, relax. I'm still in the same position. They go poke, and as you're coming out of that move, see? It's already starting to flow into that. So they're transitioning from one to the next. So you're coming up, there's the strike, and as you close and re-grab to there like so. You've got his arm, then you're going to throw his arm to the front, and that's going to be as you're kicking backwards. So I hope that's enough detail for you for the hands. Now let's get the timing right with when to lift the foot, when to lift the hands, when to time all of those things in. Okay, so let's go back to this side. So we'll have right foot forward, left hand forward. Push the heel out. You're starting to sit back. Just starting to sit back and turning the body. The left hand is starting to do that parry over your shoulder. One, and the front foot drags in just a fraction. Remember, when you drag that front foot in, you're only dragging it enough so that you can lift it. Don't use it as a cheat and drag it all the way in, and then it's very easy to lift the leg. The point is it should feel difficult to lift the leg. So when you do that, you sit back, you're like, yeah, I can't lift the leg in that position. So I'll just go, just an inch. Yep. Now, it's difficult. Got to use my core. Got to really squeeze the pelvis under, but I can do it now. So that's what we should be looking at for that posture. Okay. Don't make it too easy for yourself. Okay. So basically, as with everything in Taiji, there'll always be a little bit of crossover. They're not going to be exactly one for one kind of thing once you start to flow. But essentially, turn it out. I'm just starting to turn. Now the left hand does its work as I sit back and turn backwards. Whomp. The foot has dragged, my center has turned, my right palm is still down. Now from this position, I'm going to lift and separate. Lift and separate. That was an old advert for an Australian bra. Lift and separate to take it off. Boom, like so. and that's when you pick up your foot. Okay? So right hand and right foot lift together from here. Sitting back, dragging in, lift, and so you still get that little opening and closing. So the opening and closing is happening just towards the end of the movement. Okay? Push it back, turning in, lifting up. Now that's without the opening and closing. I didn't even do it then. I just turned into the posture just to get the structure. That little boom, little poke on the end of the movement, as I said before, it will start to happen as your hand is still lifting a fraction. I might have said before it starts sort of on that first third. I think I said the first third, then it starts to lift. I think I did that because I wasn't lifting the leg. So now that I'm lifting the leg, it doesn't feel right to start doing this while I'm lifting the leg. So I gave you a bum steer there. This is why sometimes it's good to do things without the legs just to focus on that, but other times it's like, well, hang on, you might make a mistake by leaving the leg out because I was just going, yep, that feels right. Feels right to do it like that. As soon as I lift the leg, oh no, that timing doesn't work. So I've got to see the turning this way lasts a little longer. I'm going to stay that way a little bit longer now that I'm lifting up that leg, you see, and then this maybe, I don't know, just under shoulder height, something like that. It's in the upper realm, in the last third. Let's say the last third rather than the first third. That's where you get that opening and closing. So I'll just show that again from this direction. So you see I'm still turning to my left, 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 and just on the end, see? That little opening and closing movement happens just on the last little section of the lifting. Okay? Right, back to this direction. Turn it out. Sit it back. So you'll see here, we're not turning all the way to the corner before I lift this hand. I'm not turning all this way. I'm only turning, I don't know, let's say roughly when the fingertips get to that 90-degree angle, right? So I'm facing the front, there's my 90-degree, and then where I'm heading is that 135-degree angle from the front, so the rear corner. Roughly, when the center gets to about there, my center is actually facing the corner. My hand is facing the wall, the swords and sticks back there. And my foot has already dragged in, so it has the ability now to lift up. So that's your timing. Push your foot out, heels out. Now, turn to face that wall, drag the foot in. 1. Now, continue turning. So turn your center a little bit further from the upper center, obviously not the lower center. So the upper center is going to keep twisting. So the left hand now is going to go right out to this rear corner. As that happens, I'm going to lift my right arm, like so. And as that happens, I'm going to lift my leg. Okay, that's the structure of it. Push the heel out. Sit back, drag the foot, turn to the side, 90 degrees. Keep turning, lift the foot, lift the hand, and then just on the end, there's your little pop, if you want to put that on there. Now, grab the hand, grab the arm here, grab the arm with the left hand. Remember, it's the left hand this time, so it'll be doing a counterclockwise circle, like so. Now, what you're going to do is do the movement, kick backwards. Nothing different really from what we've been doing. You're just visualizing that you're holding on to that arm. There's the kick. Bah! There. And then just express your hands, straightening that rear leg into the brush knee twist step positioning on the end of that movement. Let's try that one more time, the same side. Push the heel out. sit back, lift it up, grab the arm, kick backwards. There's the kick. Straighten, straighten, straighten. Really stretch that rear leg out. Place the foot. Tuck the pelvis. Re-straighten up the body. And finish. Let's try the opposite side. So, right leg forward. Right leg forward? No, left leg forward.
Left.
Like so. Push the heel out. Sit back, drag in the foot. Turn to the rear wall. There. Lift the foot, lift the hand. Turning further, turning the spine to that rear direction. Grab the arm. Once you've got the arm, you can start turning towards the front. Kick backwards. Bah, there it is. But follow through. Place the foot down, stretch it out, and then just kind of settle. Straighten up, tuck the pelvis, settle into that 70-30 stance. Let's try it again. Right foot forward. Left hand forward. Push it back. Drag it in. Lift it up. Grab the arm. Kick. See, no weight in that rear foot until you settle. You place the foot with an empty touch. Right, left leg forward, right hand forward. Turn it out. Sit back. Lift it up. Grab. Coming through. Kick it out. Remember, your body's a little bit tilted forward. Place the foot and center. Give me 1 second. Could I borrow an arm for 1 second? Is there an arm available?
Yeah.
Actually, I need a leg as well, if that's okay. Okay, so what have we got here? Can be done either side, I think. Let's call it that side. So, you know, as I always say, you're not going to be starting in a position like this. You're going to be, you're scrapping out here with someone. She's coming through with a punch into the back of my head. Boom. So there's that first part. You see, there's that little block there. And then there's the splitting, you see. So I'm sort of catching that hand. Again, everything's going to be much tighter and more compressed and fighty. It's not going to be all Qigong-like when you're fighting someone, but you can still see the idea of it. So here's as the Qigong happens, look, la-di-da, she's throwing the punch, there's the block, there's the strike, fingers into the neck or into the eyes, okay? I've got this wrist here. Now, what's going to happen here is, I've got to take this hand and grab. Now, how it happens in the application is never going to be the same every time. The application is always going to be slightly varied depending on where you hit her arm, depending on what side you're on, things like that, okay? So from here, bang, like so. We're probably back here like this. We've slapped that like that. This hand could bounce down, it could bounce up. You never know where that hand's going to end up based on the momentum. So in the form, we do this motion. That's sort of the set standard way of doing it. The front hand, again, in the form, you just kind of turn the hand, but see what it's doing there? Now, her hand's a little lower than mine because I'm taller than she is. If I was shorter, from there, I'd poke her in the neck and recoil. Now look, see that fits. Because this technique is really a technique which is very nice. I'd probably never use this technique anyway. It's a very flamboyant technique. But if you were going to use it, you'd use it if you're the shorter person. It works really well. As a taller person, you kind of feel it's a bit too tight to pull off the technique. But that's the idea. You've come through there like so, and you're coming into this, grabbing the elbow. Now this hand, in this case, I'd probably be coming over this way into the hand based on where it was. So that would be a slightly different rotation of the hand. But maybe I hit that there and flicked it out this way, in which case I need to grab it on the inside. That's the standard way we're holding the arm in the form. If it's the other side, same sort of deal. Bah, I can strike it out here, you see. And now I can grab the hand here. That's a bit more like how it's done in the form. Bang, like so. So there's that little circular motion like that. Ha. And then grabbing into the elbow here. And again, this hand's up here and wah, boom. Okay. So as you can see, it's a little bit of a, you probably wouldn't, thank you, darling, you probably wouldn't pull it off in a real fight, but it gives you the idea of where the intent is. Okay, yeah, got that there. Grabbing onto the arm like so, just turning the hand over like that, and into there. So, and turning the hand over, you see? So both hands are very, very subtle, you see? From there, it just rotates over. Don't think, I said before like that circle, but maybe don't think too much about the circle. Like don't think, oh, I've got to do a circle. It's really just turning the hand over, you see? Just turning it over like that. And you'll grab the wrist. Whereas this hand, of course, is just going that way. So as I say, because it's a Qigong, we're not thinking, you know, come into here. For starters, we're not going, we're not keeping it tight. We're keeping it open. It's a Qigong. We're coming from this position. And again, we're not worrying about like, oh, well, you know, probably in application or arm would be a bit here, a bit there. Oh, I'll do it 10 different ways. You don't need to do that. It's not really a fighting application anyway. It's one of the type of techniques that is given, the application is given more so for the purpose of understanding the Qigong. Not to say it couldn't work, you know, bang, you stick someone in the eyes, you grab hold of his leg and boom, you could pull it off, but it is a bit fancy, you know. It's much more likely if you came to there, boom, just come in and knock him out with the other hand rather than standing up on one leg and trying to kick backwards and pull. It's a very technical thing. You can use it as a throw as well. You don't get the nice hip rotation happening there. I'll just get you to imagine this because Fran's cooking breakfast for the kids. But you can use the same thing, and then it sort of turns into a sort of a judo throw. So you come back to here, and instead of doing this fancy thing of lifting the leg all the way up, which is beautiful for the hip strengthening side of things and the balance and all of that, but from that position, if you just slide your foot back, you've essentially just done a hip throw. And thrown him over your hip like you see in judo all the time. So those techniques can be thought of as well. But yeah, obviously, from the form point of view, it's better to visualize it as a kick because it helps you to move the leg in the correct way. If you visualize, oh, I'm throwing him over my hip, well then my foot needs to be on the ground because the hip has to be stable because I'm using my hip to throw him over. But you can see it's a similar action in the body. Okay, let's just drill that a couple more times. Yeah, we won't have time to do the other one today because there's so many details in that posture. As you can see, even myself, I haven't taught this posture, I haven't broken it down for quite some time. So I'm listening to my own body and like, oh, hang on, no, it goes here and it goes there. There's so much in there, even the teachers can get a little bit confused sometimes as to which bits to give at what time and so on. So let's try that again. Make sure we've got it completely correct. Push the heel out. Sit back, drag the foot, turn to the 90-degree point. Lift up the hand, lift up the foot, poke. Grab his arm, kick backwards, pull forwards. There's the kick. Bah. Stretch, 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 stretch. Place the foot, tuck the pelvis, center. Spin that around to the other side. Push the heel out. Sitting back, turning to the side, lifting the foot, turning to the rear corner. There's the little poke. Grab the arm. Sitting back. Kicking back rather, not sitting back. Stretch, 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 stretch. Place and recenter. All right, let's see if anyone has any questions on that just before we finish up. Any questions?
No. It was very good explained, all the body and where it comes from. So then it makes sense what you do. So, same as with the sun sao. I feel that it comes from there and it flows more. So the explanation was perfect. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Hey, Eli, which
Yes.
which heel do you put forward? Do you turn at the beginning when you step, before you step, you say put the heel outward or somewhere?
The rear foot. So you've got to straighten the rear foot. So your rear foot, because you're in a bow stance, so normal bow stance, your rear foot's at 45 degrees. So you push your heel out so your feet are parallel.
So that's like anytime you step backwards, the heel goes out first.
No, just on these two postures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like a general rule. For example, the first version, which I said is a bit different, with that one, because you start that technique already back weighted, and when you lift the foot up, you can't turn the foot out because because you do the double punch, you're already sat back in your rear foot. Then your front foot comes off the ground as you do it. So there's no room to be able to move it. So in that case, we'll cover this next week maybe, but in that case, the front foot actually the front foot will be turned out when you come into that final posture. So you need to push the heel out in the final section. So I'll cover that one in next week's class. But yeah, as a general rule, stepping backwards, no, sometimes you'll just step backwards without turning the foot. It's specific to this one to angle the body correctly for that kick. Yeah. Yes, Nick? I can't hear you, Nick. You've got your mute on.
Sorry, when you're lifting the hands, you tuck under to get the hands up and the leg up. When you do that little opening at the end, are you still tucking under?
Yes, you don't.
Yeah. So
You
you
don't
tuck under all the way.
tilt the pelvis until the leg starts moving to the rear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So we're using the hands from spreading the weave, but the timing is a little bit different, or is it the same?
That's a very good question. I'm gonna ask my body that question now. Okay, so timing. Let's have a look. Huh? The first part is the same. So the timing sort of to about that point is about the same, but because I don't have to lift the leg, I'm opening the center a little bit earlier. So I'll do both of them facing this way. So this would be spreading the weave. When does the right hand start to when does the center start to open? That's the only difference. So I'm turning. That's when I would say around about that first third point of view. So I'm only lifting the hand roughly in the first third. See, bah. The center is opening earlier. Again, there's no exact point. You might get to halfway or something, but it's definitely in that lower region. There. Whereas if I come to here now and do the same technique, that doesn't feel right. I can't open at that same point. I've got to close more, and then the opening happens only just right towards the top of the movement. So that would be the difference. What's up, Gabby? You look a bit sad. What's up? Did you bump your head or something? Or are you just sleepy? What? Did you hit your head?
No, I didn't want the head of the gummy.
You didn't want the head of the... She didn't want the head of her gummy. Is that what the problem is? Did you not want to eat the head of the gummy? You wanted the gummy to keep his head. You what?
There was only one left.
So Fran has these little, it's like a multivitamin thing, just to make sure they're getting everything they need, sort of thing. But it's a little gummy rather than a pill because they're young. There was only one left, so she had to cut it in half and give them half each, and she's upset because she only got the head of the gummy instead of the whole gummy. That's okay, Gabby. All right, well, thank you all for joining me. Next week, this class next week will be the same time because I will be in Austria teaching, and so I've got to get to the workshop after the class, so it'll be at the same earlier time. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do our first official bag day class, so that will be the normal time of 8 a.m. So yeah, if you've got a bag, hang it up. Even if you don't have a bag, as I said, you can still sort of follow along and learn the body mechanics, just, shadow boxing. So yeah, hopefully I'll see some of you there tomorrow morning.
Right, cool. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Oh.
Right, what are we doing? Stop.